morning. This week and in this video, it's an Easter special. I'm gonna divulge into how I grew my gardening business, how we built it, and basically the next steps and the next plans for what we're gonna do moving forward and where we're gonna go. And basically how we went from me in a van, little white Ford Custom, serving little old ladies on a hourly basis to what we have now, which is 7 vans operating across basically London and Surrey and some parts of Hampshire, being offered contracts up in the Cotswolds to maintain properties. Had contracts with some of the biggest landowner in London for a period of time, and basically whether we want to move in that direction or whether we're going to actually change it and go in another direction. I'll give you a little insight into the good parts of the business, and also the hassle and the nightmare parts of the business, dealing with issues with the vehicles, vans being written off, issues with staff, issues with clients, not paying bills, and every other issue you could possibly imagine in any business really, but especially a gardening business. If you were thinking about starting a gardening business, I'll give you some insights as to whether I think it's worth it or whether I don't, and also just basically open up the realities of it and see if it's something you still want to do. I'll also give you a little bit on how our pricing works, and yeah. So on the topic of pricing, when I first started, I was running the business on an hourly model. So I was charging X amount an hour per man in a garden. But what I realized, that doesn't work, in my opinion, because let's say you agree 4 hours a week with the client and you're turning up every week, all year round, 4 hours a week. In the middle of the summer, May, June, July, whatever, 4 hours a week might have been sufficient, or it might be a little bit too under, so you needed to stay a little bit extra. But then what happens with that is then you've got to go to the client and say, and usually, you know, they're at work or they're busy or whatever, so you've either got to send them a message or go and find them and say, look, we need to do an extra half an hour this week, or we need to do an extra hour because this needs doing or this needs doing. And what I was finding is, one, the clients didn't like it because it's kind of, they can't budget for it, and two, come winter, that 4 hours was too much. You know, it didn't need it. There's still stuff to be done in the winter, and there's always stuff to be done in the winter, and that's why we work year round, and we don't work for clients who don't keep us in the winter. There's structural work to be done. We cut in edges, we do pruning, we do deep cleaning behind bushes and things like that of leaves. We also do a lot of composting and mulching over the winter period. So we always work year round, but you'd be lying if you said there wasn't, there was the same amount of work in the winter in the majority of gardens as there is in the summer. And that's why we ended up doing a fixed price model where we give you a monthly fee based on a weekly or fortnightly visit, and that is it. That's what you pay every month. It's the same money every month, so the clients know what they're paying, they can budget for it. And if we need to stay an extra half an hour in the summer, we'll do it to ensure the garden is tip top. And if that means that we stay an extra half an hour, we stay half an hour less in the winter, then that's it. But across the year, it averages out, and essentially the way we price it is you're paying X amount for this product. The product is a top-notch, beautifully maintained garden. That's it. We don't work on the hour. I don't like working on the hour, and it doesn't represent the output either. I know for a fact there's people and clients, we go and quote jobs, and clients say, oh, the gardener does 3 hours a week here, but I'm not sure what he really does for the last hour. So what are you paying him for then? And they'll feel the same, because they'll probably hide behind the shed because there's nothing to do, or they'll do a job really slowly because they know, oh, I'm stuck here for 3 hours. Well, no, don't work that way. Work fast, work efficiently, work properly, and know that the end goal is to not be there for 3 hours because that's what you've agreed. The end goal is to make the garden look good, end of. So as long as that's the case, pay the money, and that's it. The garden looks fantastic, and that's how we work. With the pricing as well, obviously there's a lot of aspects involved in gardens, lots of variables. If a garden's got a lot of topiary, then you have to take that into account. Working on the hour when in the height of summer all the topiary is growing, it takes a lot of time to cut, whereas in the winter none of that topiary is growing, and if there's no other variables involved in the garden, i.e. there's not much else going on, not many weeds are growing because it's a bit colder, none of the shrubs or bushes or plants are growing, then your winter hours reduce essentially. So yeah, another reason why the hourly model does not work. I understand why clients like it, because they see like, oh, I'm paying X and I'm getting X amount of hours, but I always try and say, look, just view the garden as a product rather than a service, i.e. a finished product, which is a well-maintained, garden. That's it. That's what you're paying for. That's what you pay every month, and that is it. And I know my staff will be on here trying to find out our prices, and unfortunately I'm not going to give you that, so better luck next time. But what I will say is a fixed model per month is better than an hourly model, in my opinion. I'm sure there's people out there that will say, no, the hourly is better. That's fine, that's up to you. But in my opinion, this is what works for us. It's a lot better from a staffing perspective as well, because the boys are mentally, you're going in there with, right, I've got to do this needs doing, this needs doing, this needs doing, and you're incentivized and you're kind of motivated to get things done because we've got X amount of gardens to do in the day and it needs to be done. Whereas when you're told you've got to go and stay at this garden for 4 hours, mentally it's draining. You know, it doesn't stimulate you as much. The people that work for me, we work flat out. They you know, that's how we work, that's how we've always worked, that's how the business runs. We ensure standards, we're very particular, and we have to be. And this is why I go down the route of, I try to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and we get to a certain point and then the staff leave and we go back down to another point, or I have to sack people because they're not up to scratch, or they're turning up late or whatever, and then your staff reduce again. So then you go again in the winter, you hire more staff, and then again in the spring everything goes busy, and then you lose staff again because they're put under pressure and they can't hack the pressure, and they don't want to work that way, and this, that and the other, and that's fine, and then you lose staff again. But basically we're finding ourselves in this constant circle. And yes, everyone has put in the comments, oh, you've got to look after your staff, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Of course you do. Of course you've got to look after your staff. But equally, we're paying staff to do a job. If you do the job, good, excellent. If you're not doing the job and you're not upholding the standards that we work to, then you're not for us. And so you have to go, because I have a lot of clients who expect a high standard, and I don't expect to deliver anything less than that. What I was finding is, as we've got bigger, I'm turning up to jobs and it pains me to my bones when I see a job that isn't done properly, and that's a representation of my company. Sorry, that's a product of my company, and where I'm going to clients and I'm selling us as a premium brand in the respect of what we deliver, then we shouldn't deliver anything less. And so that's why I'm so particular and I'm so on it when it comes to quality, because that's why we're here, that's why we exist, that's why we're so busy, that's why we've always been so busy, because we focus on quality. That's it. In my opinion, how can you fail? All right, you might not get massive, but how can you fail in a business if what you're delivering is quality? The only way you can fail in that respect is if you overprice, and then you're just being stupid, basically, or silly in terms of you're going too far for the service you're delivering. But providing quality is delivered every time at a fair price, you can't fail. That's my opinion. And that's why when people say, I've started a gardening business, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and they're a bit slapdash with the way they deliver, because they're only interested in, like, quickly get the job done, quick, get the money, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, that's great, but you've got to be quick, but you've also got to make sure the quality is on point, or you're going to drive yourself into the ground. So a big question is always, right, you want to start your gardening business, or you're going out and you want to go on your own. So where do you start? Where did you get your first clients? So for us, I printed leaflets. I posted them in every door I could see locally. We also, at the time, bark was a big thing. It had just come to market, it had just been launched, and I was fortunate enough to get on there just as it was getting busy and people were using it. So what would happen is, Bark would send you through a lead locally. I don't know, for us it's like Cobham. A customer is looking for a job in Cobham. So I'd pay a £5 or whatever it was for the customer's details. I'd call them straight away. I'd try and get over there straight away. I'd go there, I'd quote the good job, and hopefully I'd win the job. For me at the time, that was a massive work generator, because it was doing really well. Bark was doing really well. Now Bark is still around, but a lot more people are on it from a tradesman, like from a trades perspective. So a lot more gardeners use it, a lot more people use it. So now when the number comes up, a lot more people are buying that lead. So I did use it a couple of years ago again, and it just wasn't converting as well as it used to. So I steered away. I don't know, it might be better now, so that could be one to try. Another thing was Checkatrade I got on there, I used that, and basically my thinking was always just get on everything so that you're everywhere, so that if someone searches you, they'll find you somewhere. So that's why I was on Bark, I was on Checkatrade, I was on Yell.com, which is, I think, an online spin-off of the original Yellow Pages. It might not be, I'm not sure, but I think it is because it's the same, similar branding. I was on Yell, we were posting leaflets, and at the time I just had a white custom. I didn't wrap my vans because I don't know why I didn't really. Well, one, it's expensive. Two, a lot of businesses, people I know in the same industry around me didn't have their vans sign written or wrapped, and I thought, well, they've got up to 3-4 vans, 5-6 vans without that, so maybe that's not needed. That is something I later learned. Yes, obviously you can build a business without branding your vans, but in my opinion, why would you not brand them? Since we've done it, yes, it's expensive. It costs about £2,500 per van to fully wrap the van, if not more now. And obviously, depending on where you go, you can spend up to 5,000 as well. But it has been such a work generator for us because, for example, a month ago, we do a garden opposite a lady. She saw the garden we maintained. It looked lovely. We planted loads of bulbs last year, so all the daffodils had come out. It looked really good. She asked one of my guys for a business card because obviously she saw the van on the drive. I went round and quoted. We got the job, we now maintain the garden. So things like that, yes, obviously if the van wasn't branded, fine, she can still go over and ask us for the business card, but we've got the number on the side, you can call the number, you can type us in on Google. I think, hopefully, we're at the top if you type CS Gardens in on Google, particularly if you're in the local area that we serve and we have the landing pages for, and then bang, we're everywhere, basically. But what I'd say, in the early days, the best thing to do is just get everywhere. And obviously you can get a lot of customers off the back of telling everyone that you're now a gardener or you're doing landscaping or whatever you're doing. You know, friends, family, they always can help get you jobs and give you little jobs and this, that and the other. Personally, I don't like working for family or friends because if anything goes wrong for whatever reason, it's just always a little bit more awkward than it has to be. Obviously, things don't go wrong often, and we try to avoid it where possible, but things happen, and so that's why I don't really like working for friends or family. But that's still a great thing to do in the early days. A big thing as well, which is comes into growing a business and how I built my gardening business. So in the early days as well, so I took on my big landscaping project. It wasn't very big, it was a pathway, but at the time it was the biggest job I'd done, and basically I had no staff. It was just me, and because I had no staff just in this business, but because we were transitioning from the cleaning business, I had a guy who used to work with me there, and he was helping me out in the gardening as and when I needed him. And so this particular job we started, he came in to help me, and then I needed more people, and also it was a big house. And the client expected obviously a level of kind of professionalism and speed to get the job done. I didn't actually know how to lay a patio at the time. I knew how to garden, I didn't know how to lay a patio. So fortunately, a good friend of mine was a builder, self-employed. He came and helped us, and a few of my friends from school also came and helped us. So on the first day we turned up, I think there was about 6 or 7 of us, and it looked like this big established firm, and at the time I was 21. So yeah, we looked capable, we looked like we knew what we were doing. And we did a great job, and that path still stands beautifully today, and we did do a good job, and we then afterwards we then turfed the garden for the client. But yeah, no, it looks good. But basically what I'm saying is, in the early days, use whoever you have around you, friends, family, to come and give you a hand, give you that appearance to the client that, oh, okay, this firm actually knows what they're doing, they've got a few guys on the firm, and it just helps get the job done and look professional. But essentially I was learning off the people that I employed, i.e. my builder friend, to teach me how to slab, how to lay patios, how to set out, how to do the levels, before we then went on and employed staff who knew what they were doing. Morning. We're starting a new site today in Surbiton. It's a site with 46 houses within all the communal areas. So Victor and Jake are going over there to start that this morning. The other boys are in another large estate, 11-acre estate, in kind of Egham, Virginia waterway, and then I am doing maintenance in Cobham today, and yeah, that's that. Let the games commence. New site starting today.
Yeah,
How are we feeling?
exciting.
Jake?
Can't wait to go on holiday tomorrow.
There we go. Boom. All of this to be maintained by the best in the business. What are you pouting?
Oh, look.
Jake, mention anything?
I love my job.
Good man.
Yeah.
I revert to the question, is it worth growing a gardening business in the UK at the moment, given current situation with everything being so expensive, staffing becoming, in my opinion, increasingly more challenging? Yeah, I do think it's worth it. I still think it's worth it. The only thing is, I think it's better to work off a boutique model, be smaller, potentially, and be more niche and be picky and choosy with what clients you work with, what jobs you do, rather than just taking everything on. The reason being, I've done that. I still do that occasionally, and it makes you go mad because you got everything coming in. You grow. You have some staff. You think, oh, okay, good, we're doing all this work, we've got loads of staff now. Then because you've taken on so much work, you then put more pressure on the staff. They then leave because they don't like, it's too intense, and then you're back to square one again. So I think it's better to keep a leaner, meaner, niche team of higher quality staff who can deliver on the work you're doing to a high standard, which is what we do. Yeah, I think that's better, to be honest. So is it worth it? Yes. Is it worth growing into a massive firm? Yeah. I speak to people, I speak to an owner of a big tree surgery company who's now gone nationwide. He still backs that it's worth it, but it comes with a hell of a lot more overheads, and I guess it depends on what you want. I always want to conquer the world, but I think sometimes you have to go back to then go forward. So yeah, that's my opinion anyway. And what I mean by going back to go forward is sometimes you grow quickly, and then you end up with big overheads and become basically a busy fool, as the saying goes. Whereas I think it's better to control a little bit more carefully the work you're doing, the staff you employ, ensure standards, ensure quality, and then naturally you can obviously reflect that in your pricing, and then you can grow more sustainably, and everyone should stay happier and life should be easier. I think the one thing you must uphold, and we're so particular on it, and which is why we lose staff, because they're used to working at other companies where they're not as particular, shall we say, and not as don't put as much stress on it, but the quality and the perfectionism and the standards in that respect you have to uphold, in my opinion, because otherwise, if you're not good at your job and you don't uphold that service, what's the point of doing it? With us, we are excruciatingly particular with everything we do, and I try and instill that constantly in the staff that work here, down to the tiny little detail. And a lot of people think, stuff this bloke's crazy, but it works because we every year on year, we're getting busier and busier and busier. Clients are at times harassing me. No, I'm joking. I'm not joking. No, the clients are harassing us to basically get the jobs done and get us booked in, and we're constantly taking on more maintenance and more extra work, and it's relentless. And I like to think it's because we're good at what we do, or they might just like me. I don't know. It's one or the other. I like to think it's because we're good at what we do, and yeah, that's that. So we put a lot of stress on standards, and we have to uphold them. And that is what I say in terms of stay smaller but keep the standards higher, reflect that in your pricing, and in my opinion, you can't go wrong. So this is one of the vans. This is how we rack it. So we store rakes. These are the blue shovels we use for obviously picking up leaves and stuff. We have all the jerry cans here, nicely stacked. This is all two-stroke. This is for the lawnmower. We've got two-stroke oil here, got hedge cutter grease, some keys for the hedge cutters, wire, bin bags, disposable gloves we store up here. Got hose, cultivators, half moons and everything else in there. This is shelf for the strimmer, this is shelf for the hedge cutter. We have an extra shelf in this van because it's an H3, so it's a higher roof. So sometimes, for example, yesterday we had 2 strimmers on and a hedge cutter. Then over here, we've got a table for spades. That is in here because we did some rake out for turf. And then when you've got more 2-stroke, weed killer, bug clear, butts of spray, pot of paint for some reason. And yeah, van set up here. We've got loppers, silky saw. In this section, we've got a screwdriver. We use these Felco shears, which are spectacular and great for everything. Probably the best shears I've ever used. Better than Niwaki and all of them. In my opinion, I'm sure everyone will disagree, but that's what we use. These steel hooks, we did some big tree planting, so we use them. And then this is fleece we're going to use to fleece a seeded lawn. So it helps germination because it keeps it warm, keeps it wet, stops birds eating it, and allows the seeds to germinate quicker. And obviously we've got a Hendon ladder for like small shaping up jobs and a little bit of hedge cutting in gardens, and if we ever need a ladder. And then we've got a roof ladder and racks and bars on the roof and a roller for any big ladders when we do big jobs. This is for weed killer. This one is for fertilizer. We haven't actually got one in this van at the moment, and as you can see, it exploded at some point. But yeah, that's it. Scaffold board for the lawnmower, and that is our racked van. Oh, up there's a little cupboard we keep gloves, first aid kits, and anything else that's needed. I'm on my way to a job just to see the boys. They're doing some maintenance, and we will go and talk to them and see what's going on. Hello, Jake. What are we up to?
We are...
Oh, he's had a haircut.
I've had. Does it all line up at the top here?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Not bad. Shout out my barber.
Shout out Tom Hardy.
Can I say?
Go on.
Yeah, what do you want to know?
What are you up to? What are we doing? Maintenance?
I'm putting the sprayer back in after spraying all the weeds that have kind of shot up over the past 2 weeks.
Yep.
And getting all the gardens back up to...
How would you say the development since you first started with CS Gardens of the type of clients we now work for compared to where we started?
Oh wow, yeah, no, it's changed drastically, you see, because, you know, we used to do odd jobs, you know, small little gardens here and there, and, you know, we've kind of opened up the aspect, and now we're doing massive, gigantic massive estates, you know, and some lovely clientele.
Cheers, Jake.
Hello.
What are you up to?
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Hey, you got an Easter egg?
No, we're hunting now in the gardens for Easter eggs.
Okay. You got an Easter egg hunt?
I found one.
Yeah?
It was a red robin egg in a nest.
A robin's egg?
Red robin, yeah.
Red robin's the tree? You mean a robin?
A little bird.
Oh, okay. That's a red robin.
Yeah.
How would you say the change since the last 4 years at CS Gardens, the type of clients we used to work for, now the type of clients we work for?
Well, it got a lot better.
Yep. In terms of the gardens and the quality of the work?
Quality of the work was always top notch.
Yep.
In terms of clients, we got a lot more clients. Bigger houses, bigger gardens.
Estates.
Nicer garden.
Yeah.
A lot nicer. With pool.
A lot more involved.
Trees, with topiary, with hedges, with lawn, with footpaths. Very.
Who doesn't love a footpath?
Yeah. That guy on about.
That's not actually a red robin. That is what it is. Similar though. Once we'd done the initial stuff and I got up and running and I started working with smaller gardens and doing, you know, slowly taking on bigger gardens, I employed first team of people and we started going into landscaping and the garden maintenance as well. At the time I was still juggling the cleaning. We're still doing gutter cleaning, normal domestic and commercial cleaning, and then kind of coming away from that, we're doing waste removal as well, but coming away from that and just focusing on the gardening. And I think that's, despite the fact we've now gone to CS Clean, we've done it off the back of the fact that we've got a good client base and we've got a solid business in that respect. But really, when you're starting, I think if I'd specialised just in gardening earlier on, it would have grown a lot quicker. Once we were up and running and it started to spiral and started to take on more and more gardens, and I could afford to do so, I then found and invested in a good website developer who's excellent and still is, and basically built our website, built landing pages. We started some Google ads as well, and that, in my opinion, was the game changer to kind of propel us forward, because we just started getting more and more work coming in, and obviously the busier you get, the more you're able to pick and choose what work you do. So it may be the case that you only want to do maintenance, then you can pick and choose that, what gardens you work for. If a client's difficult or if they're you know, sometimes you have rude customers, you can just say bye-bye. And because you know you've got a pipeline of work coming in that can cover it. Likewise, with extra work, it may be the case that you don't like the maintenance, so you go to extra work instead. And again, providing you can keep that pipeline, you're able to pick and choose what you do, and rather than have to do the job because you haven't got anything else coming in. So what I would say is if you are, for me, how we built it, how I did it, is I invested in a website and being online. That was the most important thing. With kind of local people as well, obviously getting the vans wrapped was a big thing, but bringing the work in, be online, that's number one. Now, as a business, where are we now? And obviously after those, I think, well, we've been going as a gardening business 5 years now. So within that time, we've gone from, yeah, the one-man band operation to now we're operating, there is 8 of us. There was 10 of us, no, there was 12 of us at one point, and now we're down to 8. And basically, what we're going to do in the future, I don't know. Like I say, this is why I speak about the boutique model. We might stay like that, basically stay smaller, uphold the quality, ensure standards are tip top. Because that is your USP. If you haven't got that and you can't deliver quality, then you've got nothing. And basically be the go-to, be the best at what we do, which obviously we already are, but just keep driving that rather than going down this mass route. But I'd be, again, I think I asked in a previous video, intrigued to see what other people think. I think there is a sweet spot in this business where if you go past X amount of vans, X amount of men, you then go to the next level, and you've got to ride that till you're really big, till you're almost national, for it to be worth it. Otherwise, I think there's a sweet spot in where you stay a little bit smaller, you control quality, consistency, and you're able to build basically a good kind of regional or local or whatever county-based reputation that allows you to basically grow in a way that's rather than just size, you grow to almost the quality of clients grows, and in terms of improves. So yeah, that's where we are now. Obviously we've started another service line. It's more just to complement what we already do, and that's it. So I hope you've enjoyed this week's video. I might do a part 2 because there's a lot more involved in obviously how we've built the business, but they're kind of the fundamentals in terms of what we've done, what I would recommend to do if you're in a similar situation and you want to grow a gardening business or start a gardening business. But the main key points, the takings from it are obviously start with the best tools, get online ASAP because everyone's online, and that's where you find business. Because everyone's looking for you online. Brand yourself up. Customers look at you and they think if you turn up in a white van, you know, people still use unbranded vehicles, but if you turn up in a branded van with branded uniform, and we didn't have uniform for a long time, but if you turn up in a branded van, branded uniform, people think, okay, well, they're a reputable firm, we'll use them. And then once you've done that, the next thing is just quality. Just retain the quality. However big you get, you've just got to retain the quality. That's what I think, and it's worked for us so far because we're just non-stop chock-a-block. So yeah, which is good.
One, action. So here we've got these 2 patches of lawn which are on the side of the road, and because it's very shady, moss keeps growing on it, grass is dying. So what we're doing today is we raked all the moss out, we make it nice and level, we put a good layer of top quality seeds on. It's very important we cover it with the fleece. What this does is keep the moisture, protect the seeds from frost, lets the light through as well, and stops the birds from eating the seeds. And because of that, the seeds can germinate a lot better and develop a lot quicker and nice.
Where you going, Victor?
Oh,
No.
he wishes.
Not yet, exactly. Finishing off with an overseed. Jake's just feeding the chickens. You can do end our video.
Can I?
Yeah, go on.
So like to shout out Victor, shout out CS Gardens, like to
Cheers.
shout out the editor, picking on my boy Luke, like that. Have a fantastic Easter from everyone at CS Gardens.
Look at him with a beard, he tries to copy me now.
Victor, your beard's down there. His is.
Yeah, but it's the beginning. Working here,
Like,
just-
comment, and subscribe.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bosh.
I won't. I'm on holiday. Gosh.